Okay.
Alright.
Hopefully now there won't be any side effects.
Who knows? I mean, so far, Renko doesn't seem to have suffered any particular ones.
Because he's the chosen one, Tio.
Of course
It's
he
like
is.
with Bioshock about how the protagonist happens to have just the right genetic makeup for spoilery story reasons, and why he's
Mm-hmm.
probably the only person to not get messed up by all that juice that usually turns people into splicers.
I do not like him.
I mean, sure. But this is mostly about foreshadowing again the anti-gravity module that you got in the previous part. Alright. Yeah, actually got.
Centurion.
Like I said, it's the standard revolver that you got kind of at the beginning of the game. Again, at the very least, they got slightly creative with the weapon's name instead of just being very standard with that. At the M16, the traditional pistol, stuff like that. Anyway, scattered throughout also will be these upgrade stations which automatically give your TMD a boost of some kind with again another Root Goldberg machine style animation. In this case, if I recall correctly, it's to swap the central unit, I think. There we go.
Just hold your hand there properly, fine. I wonder if the inventor made another one, since, in this timeline he survives.
Who knows? We'll have to see. For the time being, this allows us to pick objects with R3 and then toss them with R1. And yes, you can actually arm enemies with this, but I can tell you it's not a viable substitution for your standard weapons. You still do need to get the work done on that front.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Oh shit.
Oh no.
Nothing to see here.
Yeah, I'm sure it's fine.
Okay, this is actually one of the upgrades that you're very much encouraged to get, the Iron Lung. Some of the later story mandate sections will actually, not impose, but really ask you to go into some underwater swimming that we started seeing, in, I think, 2 parts ago. But with this upgrade, you can actually resist more underwater, meaning that you have, almost no risk of drowning unless you're really trying. There we go. Hey, there you go. One main gimmick for some of the puzzles will be picking up broken box, reconstitute it, and then use it as a platform.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the blueprints actually give you perks that are supposed to be basically kind of like of one single ability that you can equip at the actual upgrade terminals, but but I couldn't actually find all of them. They're actually quite a bit, and they are a bit costly, but they're mostly generally worth it. However, there you go. The TMD also introduces this kind of neat mechanic. You can use the box if the door is locked like that. You need to decompose the box. If I recall correctly, there you go. Slide it under it, and then reform it to actually open it up. Again, pretty cute as a concept. Well, the mutants are still here, which means the Singularity still happened. Now, you can use the TND also on the mutated people, and yes, it does do something. In the case of these ones, it basically removes their invisibility, power, meaning that you can actually kill them in a much faster way. So it's appreciated.
Eventually, Captain, you will have to find an elevator that will take you to the upper floor of the
Shoot, I wonder if Catherine is still a thing as well in this timeline.
We'll have to see. we have to understand that we're seeing things from our perspective. This game doesn't really have cutscenes outside from the beginning and the end, meaning that everything is happening under Renko's perspective. And as Barisov said, stuff that happens for a second to Renko might be instead literal decades for everyone else around. So we don't. This is a time travel story that at least avoids a bit of trapping by the virtue of seeing, not letting the character seeing the changes happening instantly because well, he's the one that's doing it. So it's more of a case of seeing what happens after it. So I argue they actually try to dodge as many bullets as possible with this one.
Would be interesting if this could be used to revert the mutations of people.
Unfortunately, no. It only basically allows you to kill them better.
I wonder if that was another planned
when
idea.
you see it literally decomposes them on instant.
I wonder if healing them was another ditched concept.
Could have been. Again, they do, considering the Bioshock influence, I wouldn't be too surprised if they had in mind that morality system that you did mention as a parallel to the stuff that you can do with the Little Sisters. And there is some kind of remnant to that at the very end of the game, but you'll see on that front. Okay, are we done here? Good. Oh, actually, I don't think so. Okay, can you stop teleporting to be a dick? There you go. This is this thing. Some of these teleporting enemies have very long and drawn-out death animation, making you question if they're still alive or not when, they clearly are. I don't like the new milk they're serving in the cafeteria. It's orange and it glows. Filled all when I drink it, and cookies crumbles into dust when I dunk them. Also, milk is not supposed to be orange.
It's special milk.
Sure.
We
It's
call
for
it
people.
orange juice milk.
Orange. I'm pretty sure there's a paradox in there
Jova,
somewhere.
wasn't there... Okay, also
Believe it or not, we're now
the
actually
news
making cereals that are meant to
Yeah, I was about to mention.
eaten from a bowl of orange juice instead of a bowl of milk.
For
Hey, Joe,
some
you still
reason.
want that?
Are you still going to pay for that in the orange juice, Edge?
Sure. You gotta record yourself doing eating it.
It's weird because originally you said you weren't going to throw in the pulp-free orange juice.
You can,
Oh, you got
That
a budget
begs the
increase,
question, though.
didn't you?
Yes, Pedro.
That begs the question, Jova. How much percentage of that cereal is actually juice?
Upper floor.
Huh.
Starting
Because remember that was that drink
Juicy
back in the 90s
juice,
that
now
was
100% juice.
20% juice, like 80% juice. Or I forgot how the percentage was, but basically it was like something percent juice, which makes you wonder. Well, okay, if X percent of that this drink is juice, what the hell is the rest then? Like, it's just...
Okay, I'm pretty confident that American regulations have to impose that kind of way, but at least in most European countries, the products that are sold in grocery stores are kind of obligated to report on the back, the actual composition of a product. Well, it does make me wonder what's in the rest of the fucking thing, but I can imagine if there's some weird bullshit excuse, although it begs the question of why emphasizing that in your commercial about the product.
Yeah.
Like
That's what makes it so fun. Like, I get that the whole thing label is there too. It definitely is. It's just that from a commercial, like you said, from the commercial marketing standpoint, why would you say that?
Mm-hmm. Activate the door, Lisa.
Our juice actually contains juice in it, unlike all those other juices.
Oh, that's
Oh.
a big one. Elevator, go up, please. Thank you.
Ha ha ha! You
Is it
can't get.
possible for you to fail that?
No, this is clearly more of a scripted sequence.
Oh, he's climbing. How cute.
As long as you don't start throwing barrels at me, I'm fine.
then he busts through the floor, doesn't he?
I seem to not be able to breach, so that's good. Well, let's not wait too much around to check.
Yeah.
Also, man, the game really wants me to use the shotgun. I'm sorry. No, I'm not.
Nice
Alright.
and quiet in here.
This is the audio journal of Dr. Vasily Korkin. He visited me again late last night. Subject Alpha from the teleportation experiment.
Oh.
That's the fourth time in the last 2 weeks.
Huh.
He materialized out of nowhere. He seems to be more corporeal with every appearance. I must admit, he frightens me. A little. There is such malice in his eyes.
Okay. It seems that despite the teleportation thing going wrong, things might have worked out for the person, just not the way he wanted. Oh man. I'm in Silent Hill now. I'm sorry. What you're supposed to do with these kind of explosive plants is to find their core, the glowing bit, and actually just shoot once there. There you go. It literally disables it.
Weird that the TMD can't just, dissolve them.
I think it can, but I might try only later. Again, keep in mind, it's actually had been a long time since between the first time I played the game and the time I actually recorded it for this run.
Now you should see the courtyard you'll need to pass through.
I'm also hearing some things, Doctor. Which is a good segue. I mentioned him in a couple of the previous parts, but just to mention, Dr. Barisov is voiced by Graham McTavish. He's mostly an actor, believe it or not, rather than just a voice actor. And he was playing, I forgot which specific one of the dwarves in the Hobbit movie trilogy. There you go, he's Scottish. He also voiced, if I recall correctly, someone in the Castlevania series. Yes, he was the voice actor for Dracula himself. I think we did mention a couple of parts ago.
Well, that's not too common considering Lord of the Rings tends to have actors who previously played Dracula. So
Okay, Dad, you might also be able to actually tell me more about this instead. Have you actually seen the 2015 TMNT series?
The 2012 one, the CGI one?
No, 2015.
Is that the...
It says that the presence of this character ran in the show between 2015 and 2017. Okay, it did start in 2012, okay.
so
Yeah.
it's the 2012 series.
Yeah.
Okay, in there he plays a character called... just give me a second. Yeah.
Oh.
Wait.
Moving on. In there, Dad, she plays a character called Savanti Romero for a couple of episodes. I have no idea who that is supposed to be.
Wait a minute. Was this guy from season 3?
I mean, his role started in one episode in 2015 and then in 4 more in 2017.
Yeah, I kind of stopped watching after season 2 because the first half of season 3 was boring.
Again, I know nothing of that. Apparently, it was also King Atlan in the Aquaman movie. It was the guy from which, Aquaman takes the trident at the end. Interesting. Again, despite that, he's mostly a live-action role. He does have those voice acting, but it seems to be also, being more on presence. But he has worked in a couple of video games, mostly in either secondary or, very relatively minor roles in additional voices.
Oh, he's Dracula in Castlevania.
That's what I mentioned a couple of minutes ago.
Yeah. I just want to look up.
Again, Lord of the Rings. Like that's usually like remember Christopher Lee was also Dracula at one point, so I guess it's kind of a thing of that series.
Because I know season 3, the first half of it was a bunch of horror movie references.
Huh.
Like I know they got the voice of Freddy Krueger to play a villain.
Really?
So it's kind of like how the '80s show is full of references to old '50s B science fiction films.
And I believe they got the original voice of April O'Neil to voice April's mom.
Oh,
That's
pretty
a
cool.
cute reference, I guess.
But it turns out that her mom's actually an alien or something.
Oh.
It was. Look.
No, I
That
understand.
show.
No, I understand. The early 2000s Addams Family series also cast OG Gomez as Gomez's dad. So, aka John Aston, the original Gomez from the '60s sitcom.
Also, we keep finding strange writing on the walls made in E99 talking about different things. Weird.
Yeah, it was Renee Jacobs who voices April's mom. Fun fact: April on that show is voiced by Katara from Avatar: The Last Airbender,
Huh.
Oh, Mae Whitman.
who also plays Roxy from Scott Pilgrim vs. the World.
Yep.
Okay, I didn't know about this one. Libs? I guess he's still BRB. Apparently, Graham McTavish was the submarine captain in the Tomb Raider Cradle of Life. So I guess he was like...
Is that an Angelina Jolie movie?
Yes, the second one. The one where she punches a shark in the face at the beginning.
What?
A CGI shark at that.
I've never seen any Tomb Raider.
The only two things I
The
remember
first
about the
one
movie
was-
is the punching the shark at the beginning and the sex scene. That's literally it.
Do they have the considering the time that they were made? Do they have the same energy as the Charlie's Angels films?
I suppose I never really watched the Charlie's Angels movies, and because I was never really interested in them.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay.
All good. All
So
well
far.
and good.
Again, repetitive one-liners aside, at least you get to know that some soldiers might be nearby if they keep talking, even casually. You don't really get the Batman Arkham Asylum style banter between mooks, sadly, but it's still something.
What do we have here?
More notes. Again, it seems the more we delve into Katorga, the more people were treated kind of shitty way.
It's like Aperture Labs.
Or again, Rapture.
How would Cave Johnson run Rapture?
Oh, not sure. He himself was kind of like the polar opposite of Andrew Ryan.
Now you got me imagining GLaDOS just handling it all.
GLaDOS would have been better in handling the entire thing.
Would she really, though?
Remove a bit of the ego side, and yes.
Therein lies the caveat. As soon as you try and do that, she'd find a way to have you run into an unfortunate little accident.
At the very least, she will probably keep the place stable, instead of actually constantly being flooded.
Don't you see? It being flooded was just part of the attraction at that point.
Sure, and not the lack of Big Daddies actually fixing it from the outside. But again, the whole Chronolite thing, I don't even know if that was supposed to be a mechanic or not, but it's just there to, in the actual game, it's just there to emphasize those footsteps in case you're actually lost, or to actually that kind of writing in the on the wall that we have been seeing throughout the entire game. Which some of it starts to be not ambiguous, but kind of weird, like saying that Mir 12 is not, to be trusted, or that Barisov, might not be telling everything. So, again, just what exactly is going on is something we need to find out on our own. That's another thing about this story. Also, sorry, if I recall correctly, at some point my got fucked up a bit. But that's the thing about this story. Because of the way it's presented, your characters does not really have much of a choice. Sure, we still don't really hear Renko's inner thoughts, which is kind of a shame, mind you, because again, this was still the age of having the silent protagonist that just happens to work out, basically, without actually giving properly the emotion we needed. Remember, despite being in third person, Dead Space kind of went also through that direction. And when people, and apparently, Visceral and EA took the complaints on that front to heart by actually, have Isaac starting talking from the second game onward. So I get the idea what he did there, but it's kind of a shame that we never hear Renko's inner thoughts, considering the weird situation that he's thrusted in and the fact that he basically only has to comply. So, alas. Where are you?
Come out wherever you are. Please.
Preferably without trying to shoot me. Or, kill me, overall.
Well, even if they, I guess these still are, potentially some damage of soldiers, who knows? You can also tell when a game is clearly developed for PC and then later for consoles from the aiming control, because aiming with a controller, at least in this particular stage, was kind of painful for video games, unless the game was literally built for that system, like say Resistance, which was built entirely to be played only on the PS3. And to be honest, I kind of get it, because, on PC it's just as easy as moving your mouse, click, head goes boom. It's actually a bit more intuitive. While the sensitivity of the sticks of a controller are kind of a different thing. Which, to be fair, it's something that you normally can toggle in the option, but again, trying to find the right combination every time is a bit of a pain.
Yeah.
Alright, for this next bit, you do need this particular box. Thank you. Anyway, again,
Yeah, we saw the letter. Nope.
yeah. But again, I like the ideas that they still managed to squeeze out with the TMD in terms of despite being situational, the stuff that you can recover, and actually put to your advantage. again, it's at the end of the day, it's still sadly not that much, but it does help to give the game a bit of a personality, which is more than I can give, because again, around this point, most shooters were very easy clones, bare bone clones of each other, with no real substance around them and only the story to make things a bit different, which did work in some cases, like Spec Ops The Line, for example. But in terms of gameplay, you still, were getting a more of a vanilla-like experience. And this at least tried to spice up the formula a bit. There we go. Come to think of it, again, outside of... Oh, actually, no, we're about to get a boss fight now.
Oh,
Because
boy,
it's time to
boss
actually
fight.
face the giant mutant. There it is.
Oh, that guy is still alive.
Yeah. Oh.
Oh, great,
so
he
what
can
you're-
teleport.
Yeah, like the other minor mutants. What you're supposed to do is to actually get the barrels that he's about to toss to you, like this, and toss it right back at him. Again, very old school Zelda logic, get the weapon in a specific place and use that one as the tool to defeat the boss of the dungeon.
Yep.
And there you go, you need to do it constantly so you can chip away his armor until his weak point is actually, exposed. There we go. Oh, thank you for waiting me to turn around. Ah. Now, at some point, the weak point actually changes location. Now, in this case, it's on his back. But occasionally, this is the kind of boss that will summon also a couple of flunkies in order to give you an extra bit of challenge, I guess. Yeah, I could. Again, to be honest, this particular addition was kind of unnecessary. Like, the fighting itself was working just fine, even in terms of challenge. So, adding the flunkies a bit just feels more than anything. There you go. For this next bit, when he swings the weapon, you have to circle around him and actually hit the weak point, but it's right there.
Oh no, it's a buff version of the main villain of Terminator Genesis.
And apparently these type of mutant expel like cyan juices. I guess exposure to anything turns your body blue. Da-bu-dee-da-bu-da. I don't know.
I mean, we see different things turn people blue all throughout fiction. Like ice turns you blue, electricity turns you blue, and yellow depending on what universe you're in. All sorts. Also, I love that guy was just flickering in and out of existence.
Yeah, that's remember the gimmick with these kind of mutants, where literally phasing in and out.
I meant in the way it looks like they can't be fully rendered in the game.
Oh! Aha! Right back at ya!
Yeah, and now the final weak point is right on the monster's head. There we go. We're done.
Captain Renko!
Oh, there she is.
What good timing for you to show up!
She didn't want to take the credit for the kill.
Oh,
Yeah,
great
let's go
escorting.
with that.
Don't worry, like I said, the people that you need to escort in this game can easily take care of themselves. Which is more than I can ask for.
I mean, it's a Bioshock clone, so...
Let's go! It's locked, of course. Hold them off for a bit, Renko.
I mean, why not just age the mechanism?
Almost got it.
That's actually a good question.
Yeah.
Again, the idea it might have not have been coded with E99. Again, that's the excuse they want. It's similar to why in portals some surfaces are not, ideally to be used for portals.
I guess, you know, I mean, it's a better excuse for why you can't do certain things than a lot of games come up with.
There we go. At least for this next session, she actually helps you properly. Because, mostly because she also gets a gun on her own.
I wonder if we'll ever get a modern day FPS where it has the equivalent of the Konami laser scope.
We're just point and say fire.
Yeah. You aim. It's like a VR glasses. You wear them. You tilt your head and then shout fire.
Okay, I haven't seen that yet specifically for myself. The closest to that is that I can tell you would be a reward weapon that you do get for finishing off Dead Space 2 at its most brutal difficulty, which is really not an experience that I would recommend. It's basically that kind of, it's kind of similar to the One Night Stand mode from Arkham Origins, and you only get 3 saves and the difficulty is ranked to the maximum. But if you beat that, you unlock that weapon, which is a stadium foam hand. In the shape of, you know, like the pointing sign, which Isaac can use as a gun, which literally points to the enemy, and you get Isaac's voice actor keep saying bang, 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 and it's basically a one-hit killer. It is admittedly probably the best reward they could give you.
The generators are gearing up.
Okay, that girl with the strong accents. Who voices her again?
Carrie Walgren.
Okay.
All right, you were BRB when I mentioned these with. Apparently, the voice actor for Dr. Barisov, Graham McTavish, which is Scottish, apparently was the submarine captain in Tomb Raider Cradle of Life.
Well, I mean, this is an upgrade at least. In fact, I think being alone in the dark movie would be an upgrade.
I don't think he was in that one.
Well,
I have to admit, his resume is quite varied.
I was just saying. I mean, also more hypothetical examples is I know he wasn't in. I know he wasn't in Alone in the Dark, but like I always say, I'd rather watch Alone in the Dark than Cradle of Life. And I'm being dead serious.
It's been way too long since I saw the movie, so I need to re-see it again to see exactly what's bad with it. But I do remember not being impressed.
Put it this way, Jan de Bont's never directed another movie after that.
Wow.
Yeah.
So we kept going.
The Haunting
after
remake
the
didn't kill
Haunting
his
and
career,
Twister,
directed.
but not the
Cradle of Life did. For good reason. It's worse than The Haunting.
Wow.
Good. I noticed recently.
It wastes Alan Silvestri even. Like, how do you even do that?
Okay. I really do have to wonder if it's actually
There we
worse
go.
than The Haunting, given how bad The Haunting is.
The elevator should almost be there.
Finally! Come on, Renko. Let's get to the tower. This way, Renko. That was a nice bit of work.
But anyway, the
Renko.
point is that we finally managed to actually reach the tower, so it's time to chat once again with Dr. Barisov.
Now alive in this time.
My God, you haven't aged a day.
I
Remarkable.
wonder if we'll amass a party of people that we save in the past who later age in the future.
Alright, we need to actually get some explanation.
Here, let me show you what happened to the world after you saved Demichev from the burning building. From the moment I invented the TMD, Demichev wanted it. He demanded I hand it over for him to use in his research.
Yeah, that's the thing. Demichev wanted to experiment on humans from the get-go, and Barisov did not want it. He might have been loyal to his country, but he did not want it to be a monster.
With everyone else.
Yeah.
Demichev was obsessed with the power and
Which in turn caused the Singularity.
Months after it came online, there was a terrible accident. The Singularity exploded, killing thousands instantly. But they were the lucky ones. Those who survived were left to a fate worse than death. The E99 radiation mutated every living thing on the island, including humans. The island was quarantined and abandoned, but not before E99 had been effectively mass-produced and implemented.
Yeah, here's the problem. Apparently, with this, Demichev still managed to actually found ways to produce the E99 and uses that to his advantage to essentially escalate the chain of command.
But we've killed Demichev now, though.
And Premier Khrushchev agreed. Russia launched a preemptive strike against the United States, devastating its entire east coast with a single E99 bomb. Simultaneous attacks were also launched across Europe.
And yeah, the rest of the world kind of capitulated. Like, the Soviets conquered the world very easily thanks to the E99.
It's weird, though. Didn't we kill Demichev, so shouldn't this have been all prevented now?
Demichev used his growing number of supporters to oust Khrushchev and install himself as chancellor for life.
Yeah. Yeah, to the point where Demichev became the de facto leader of the Soviets.
So you see, the timeline has been altered, but it can be corrected, and the Singularity is the key.
Again, didn't we kill Demichev, so shouldn't that have fixed things?
Dominated the world.
Well, if things are not, that means he was still alive somehow.
He survived.
But the only thing that can destroy the Singularity is something of equal.
Pedro just showcased me kind of a thing that happens in another game, but yeah, it seems that a lot of video games done from this point onward love to have characters being shot in the face and yet it's just the bullet grazing their temples.
I guess that's what the scars on his face are meant to show, but still though, that guy was riddled with bullets and toppled out a window.
Before we end the part, I'm just gonna read a little bit through the Dr. Barisov belongings because he has some stuff that can be used. What you were asking specific? All right, to do is what you were mentioning instead about Cradle of Life and the haunting with the Underbound. Again, the haunting has the extra bit on it for the fact that it's based on an existing property rather than being original IP. Twister, if I recall correctly, it is instead more of an original kind of story, while Tomb Raider Cradle of Life, it's allegedly supposed to be based on the games, Actually, didn't ask, did any of the movies implemented any score from the game or remix in some kind of fashion?
Not that I can remember. I mean, the first movie was going. One of the ideas for the first movie was just to have the first 3 games as composer score it, but it didn't happen. Yeah, then we got the score that was made over like a week or a weekend even. And then we had Tomb Raider Cradle of Life score, which was from Alan Silvestri, and I don't remember too much from it, to be honest.
Thank you, Teddy.
Also, there was a lot of the blame game being pushed around, both Cradle of Life and Angel of Darkness, the game that came out around the same time, both in 2003. So the Paramount the film didn't do well at the box office. Paramount blamed the game franchise for it.
Of course they did.
Forgetting that the movie sucked, and was such a total departure from the last one, where you know how the first movie didn't really take itself too seriously.
Yeah, and we love it for it.
Cradle of Life did take itself too seriously.
Really, the movie that
Okay,
starts with a
I
woman
forgot
punching
to-
a CGI shark in the face.
Isn't that the one where the mission at the beginning has Lara punching a CGI shark underwater?
Yes. Meanwhile, IDOS and or Core Design were blaming the movie for the game's poor performance. Again, clearly forgetting about their game. And yes,
Wow.
having played some of the game, I can tell you for sure that yes, IDOS's meddling was not helping. But it's not like Core Design are entirely blameless. I mean, they were the ones trying to have the traditional tank controls, grid-based tank controls, being used exclusively for the analog stick in a game released in 2003
All
on
right.
the PS2.
All right. In the next part, we start investigating properly on, or at least to try to get to the place where the Singularity happened. So see you for that.
See ya.
Yeah.
Yeah.